What's up guys, in the works, and today we are playing on some Death Valley TDM, and this is actually one of my favorite TDM maps now. This and Armored Shield are surprisingly really solid on the TDM side of things. Even the Mountain Snow map and the other map play pretty decently for TDM. So if there's one cool thing, if you don't like Rush and you don't like Conquest, one thing you can take away from this map pack are some pretty good TDM maps. And I'm saying that with a lot of confidence because it is a nice alternative to the usual TDM maps. I'm not a huge fan of Firestorm. That tends to be one of the more popular ones, and I'm just tired of playing Canals. I'm tired of playing Karg Island. And honestly, this one right here gives you way more variety. It actually feels like a TDM map. I was actually telling my buddies the other day, it's like, okay, this is what close quarters should have felt like, because these maps have a lot of close quarter scenarios, but there's a lot of instances where there are some longer lines of sight. And I really do enjoy this one in particular. Like I said, Armored Shield is pretty cool too. So if you haven't tried them out on TDM, give them a chance. I think you might be pleasantly surprised at how fun they can actually be. But I'm going on a pretty good streak here. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a little bit more stationary. Because if there's one thing I know about TDM, you have to play your angles. You have to be smart about where you're at, your positioning, your movements and stuff like that. But we're using the M416, and we're going to talk a little bit about what really makes this thing so powerful. So if we look at the pre-patch M416 and we look at the post-patch M416, you can see the only thing they change is the recoil patterns. There's nothing else. They didn't change the rate of fire, they didn't change damage, they didn't do anything like that. Mainly all they did was make it so that the first shot recoil, which is when you first fire the bullet before it centers for the first time, they reduced that a little bit, and then on the flip side they actually reduced some of the side-to-side recoil on this thing, which made it pretty effective at medium to longer ranges. So what it basically did was it made it so that it could compete. Because it was getting outshot by M16s, the AAK bullets that are out of the water up close, so there wasn't a lot of incentives to sit down and use the M416. So that's where how we got to the point we are today with it. So they tried to essentially make a weapon that was more balanced because it does shoot slower than the M16. It needed to give it a reason to use it. Now, a lot of people feel like they've created a monster. They've made a class that's just basically as bad as the M16 was before the patch. Now, I disagree with that, and that's the point of this video. Is I feel like just because they reduced the recoil doesn't necessarily make it on par with the way the M16 used to be. Because you got to consider a lot of things. This thing is not as good in close quarters as the M16 was. Shooting 50 rounds per minute slower, that's a pretty big deal, I would say. Because the M16 is still going to beat this thing up close. It's still going to pwn it in the close quarter scenarios. I still think the M16 has a lot of advantages on it. I mean, the reload times are similar, but I still think the M16 has the slight edge, if I am correct. If not, I'll stand corrected. But the M16 still has a slight edge in the reload department, and I think that's why so many people still use the M16. When they first patched this thing, it was like the doors opened, everyone stopped using the M16, and everyone started using the M416. And I was like, wait, well, why is that the case? Because, I used the M16 post-patch, and I really didn't feel like it was that much different. Yeah, I did notice some differences, but for the most part, it was pretty similar to the way it used to feel. So I was actually kind of surprised that they even wasted their time going to the M416. And then I sat down and I kind of thought about it, and ooh, I finally get killed. And kudos to him for finally getting smart enough to rush in there and kill me. But I sat down and thought about it. I was like, man, what really makes the M416 so good? And you might be asking yourself, well, what attachments are you using? Right now, I am using the Cobra sight, and that's it. That's it. No heavy barrel, nothing. Nope, just Cobra sight. And you're like, well, what about heavy barrel? Well, I stopped using heavy barrel after the patch because I found that it was just making it harder, and it wasn't really giving me the same advantages that I was used to. Because when they first patched the heavy barrel, they made it a little bit more effective. I found that the heavy barrel made it so that it was really easy to take out people at longer ranges. Well, with the M416 in particular, I find that it doesn't really benefit that much from the heavy barrel just because it has so few, low recoil. The recoil on this thing is almost non-existent, so putting the heavy barrel on it almost does it a disservice. Yeah, it's going to help you, in certain situations at longer ranges. You'll hold your damage a little bit longer, but for the most part, I find it's a lot easier to be accurate with this thing without the heavy barrel because it doesn't have any movement. I mean, watch some of these pop shots I take at people at medium range here, and you can see that there's almost no deviation after you shoot it. I mean, it's pretty easy to just sit there and pop fire at people. And it's a pretty effective long to medium range weapon now. So honestly, I think that's what makes this thing so powerful now. I think that's what really makes it an attractive choice. For me in particular, it's probably my favorite assault rifle right now, although there are a lot of good ones out there. You know, the AEK is really good up close. And a lot of people are saying the AEK is the new go-to just because it is so, it really pretty much remained unchanged. I mean, what did they change the reload time on it, and that was about it. So for the most part, the AEK is about the same as it always was. So a lot of people are saying, you know, the AEK is the best choice. And, you know, I've always liked the AEK. I always run it with foregrip, laser sight, and I've always used it as an up-close weapon. But I've noticed a lot of people trying to use it in longer range scenarios. I don't really know if I'm that type of player. I don't think I can pull off some of the shots that I see people get with the AEK, but for the most part, I mean, the M416 is the best all-around assault rifle right now, and I think that's what really makes this thing so powerful. You know, it doesn't really do anything particularly well, but it is a very solid entry-level class, as you see that guy just chilling in a corner. Well, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the M416 is, quote, OP now? Do you think that they went overboard in making this the best assault rifle in the game? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this short little look at the M416. This was a pretty good TDM, quite the beatdown on my end. But if you missed any of my other videos, now's a chance to catch up, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.